And we are live. Good morning, everybody, and happy early holidays. I actually found my only holiday sweater this morning for the occasion. So, I'm here with Eka this morning, and we are going to talk about all things gifts and ideas and traditions and strategies.
All right, sounds good. Let's do this.
And if anybody has any questions or comments or their own stories to share, please put them in the comments so we can put them up and discuss.
Okay. So I will tell you how the holiday starts at our house. It starts off with a group text to my children and my husband that says, I was at Panera today and I ran into Santa and he's really busy this year and he's asked that I gather up all the wish lists for him from the entire family and then forward it to him instead of everybody making their own list. So please let me know and as soon as possible because Santa's really busy. Well, obviously my children know that that is not true, but this is something I have been doing since forever. I've always said Santa's really busy. Let's just do this as a family. So then I'll get a list, and then like 3 days later, somebody will send, oh, if you haven't sent the list, or if you see Santa again, will you tell him this is what I want on my Christmas list? So, and then I actually found like a little plaque, like a little hanging wall plaque, whatever, that says, "Dear Santa, did you get my text?" So I bought it, and it hangs on a door. It's like it hangs on a door, and I have that, and I hang it on a door, and it's a Christmas tradition because of that. So that's how the holiday season starts at our house.
Would
Right.
you say that gift giving is one of your main love languages? Does it come natural to you?
I don't know. That's a tough one. As we were discussing before, I love doing it and I love to be equitable about it. So, um, there are some things that are just like, oh, I know that you want this, but then I always try to throw in stuff that they didn't ask for, but that, I was showing Franziska, this year I knitted and felted some bowls for them. Well, obviously they don't know they're getting a felted bowl because who thinks, ooh, maybe this year mom will make me a felted bowl. You know, I have been I have been accused of spoiling my children. So yeah, maybe it is. But how about you? What kind of stuff do you do?
Well, so what's interesting about me is that I think gift is actually my least love language for myself, but I love to gift people.
Right. Oh yeah.
And I love to think about this. I think about this for like way too much. Like even if my daughter like came home and she was like, well, in the Secret Santa, I have, this girl that I really don't know. And then I'm like, for like 3 days, I'm like, well, but what's her favorite this? What's her favorite that? And then, and she said at the end, I'm like, we'll find something really good for her. And she said, no, you are going to just make suggestions until I say yes. And that's how it works.
Right.
And I like that. Well, so yeah, I think we don't have the text. Maybe we'll start that next year because that's fun. This year was actually the first time my daughters created Google Docs for their Christmas lists. But I don't, there are always a couple of specific items that are often related to their hobbies, especially to dance, where they're like, that's really something we want or need. And then there's a lot of stuff where thankfully, maybe that's because they are early teens, where they still kind of want me to pick, they're like, oh, we want comfy loungewear, right? But
Right.
you go
Until
nuts.
you find it. Right.
Yes. And that makes me really happy that they kind of trust me and that they also kind of want me to surprise them. So I find like there's this mix of, what is it that you need or want, and then what you want and that I can surprise you with, you know? So for example, my older daughter is really into Lord of the Rings. So then I'm like trying to find things on Etsy or, you know, where I know she will just get a kick out of it. Like, yeah, for example, last year I got her this sweater, which probably doesn't make sense for everybody who is not into Lord of the Rings, but you know, it's like her favorite sweater, you know, and
Right,
it's
right,
because I knew it was like a perfect fit for her, right?
right. One of the things we have done in the past is um, we've done experiences, like we talked about experiences, and I know that can be expensive, depends on what you want to do, but the experiences I've done are like like they say they want gift card to get gel nails because I do it enough so that it's for the both of us. So
Yeah.
a lot of the experiences are not just go out and have fun, but without me, but it's like, "Hey, let's do this exclusively." And I know that can get crazy expensive, but I do differently. So one year, my older daughter, and then two of her friends, and the two of the moms, the six of us got tickets to see a Broadway show when that was touring through our town. And so that was her special thing. And so it was the two of us and then, four other people. So that was really fun to do that. And so it wasn't the whole family; it was just the two of us. So that's what I try to do. Also, is do something so it's one on one or like with the two of us or like with their father, so that they so they get a little individual time. So that's always fun too. And those are not usually things they ask for. Those are usually things I kind of um, kind of brainstorm or come up with. I mean, I don't know about you, but sometimes I get this inspiration from I don't know where. Like I was at a book discussion and somebody brought one of their favorite books, and I was like, oh yeah, my girls have to have that book. So then I went to buy it, and when I called my local bookstore, and they said, oh, that's out of print. You can buy it at Amazon for $165.
Oh,
And I was like, what? I just thought it was this cute book. So now it became the hunt to find this book
of course.
and two, one for each of them. So so something like that. I kind of stick to a budget, but then every now and then I'm just like, I just see something, and yeah. But my girls are really
You know,
spoiled.
what I also like about experiences, especially when we talk about, you know, like nails or hair, or I feel like you can sometimes give it an interesting twist. So, for example, you know, if they want to have their hair done a certain way, you can actually like give them instead of an appointment, you make an appointment for like a hair lesson, which
Oh, okay.
you
Yeah,
know, like my girls really love it. Like then it's like, okay, the hairstyle is actually going to teach you how to curl your own hair or how to straighten your hair, or you know, and so that way, because you don't need to ask for, you know, this for the future, because you will actually then be equipped to do it
that's a
yourself.
good idea. And
Yeah.
then I think for boys, I mean, things like sporting stuff,
Yeah.
go to a sporting event, or if they're into baseball, like a day with their dad at the batting cages or with their mom at the batting cages, something like that, or a golf lesson. And that's
No,
always
music related things.
that they like. But I think for me, I think it's important to include me in it or my husband, because instead of like, oh, here, this is something for you to do with, you know, by yourself or whatever. So I try to make it a more family oriented experience like that. Um, and then, as I was saying earlier, Franziska, I'm all about being equitable. So I just totally line all the gifts up and I see, are cost wise, how they look, are they relatively, even. Um, and I've always been like that. And my husband always says they don't notice. And I was like, but I do. You
Mm.
know, I don't want there ever to be, this one got $100 more than the other, you know what I mean? Whatever. So I try really hard to do that. And he's like you said, probably nobody knows this, but that's just
Yeah.
the thing. Yeah. And there's just, and then sometimes, I do Secret Santa with with my siblings.
Okay.
And and so we've been doing this for years, and they're partners. So we do this every year. My youngest daughter is the one who draws everybody's name, and then she texts everybody because nobody's in state. Everyone lives. So we've been doing this for years, and so sometimes there's a limit and everything, and so sometimes I will go to, best gifts under X amount of money to see what's out there that I wouldn't think of buying for myself, just so that if I get that for my sibling, then it reminds me of them all year, So I end up putting things out there um, that are a little bit different. Like this year on my list, I wrote locally grown or local products from where you live, because they all live somewhere different. So I'll have to see what I end up getting. I think it'll be really interesting. Like one year, my brother's partner wrote that, and I went and I bought honey that was locally grown. I bought olive oil. I actually knit her a hat. So that was locally. My neighbor makes hand lotion, so I got some hand lotion from him. So so it was all this. There's a place that's famous for their popcorn, and I put this all in a basket, and that was what she got. And I just thought it was a really great idea. So for her, I did it, I had fun. So that's what I asked for this year. So things that are a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, that's certainly a great way to to put it, like, on your wish list, especially for adults. I feel like we really, who needs anything, like,
Right.
I grew up differently, and I also have a birthday very close to Christmas, so that kind of
So do I.
soured that. But I grew up in a family where everybody got free gifts, and in Germany you don't do stocking stuffers, so that was it. So they were like, because it was free gifts, you kind of started to wish very strategically, so to speak. And I always found that really stressful, because I always wished that there would be something that somebody else would just kind of, thought of, and that was a real surprise. But I also felt this, but I cannot, like, give up,
Your
my
three
free
gifts.
gift.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. That's a
Yeah.
tough one.
So, and so I'm with you with my kids. I try to keep it more or less even, but I'm not doing the math quite as extensive as you do. But I always try to have stuff in there that they would have, that I know will really surprise them, because I always wished for this. And the other thing that I struggle with a little bit is how much of their hobbies should really come into Christmas, because I always feel like they are both really into dance, and I always feel, well, if I allow them to do that and if I pay for this, then I have to also commit to paying every 6 weeks for point shoes. So I don't feel quite right to put point shoes under the tree, because it's like something where I'm like, well, if I say you can do this, I'm kind of on the hook for this. And even though it's a really expensive item, it's like, how much should that be under the tree? Or
Well, okay, so that's so funny because I have a dancer also, and point shoes were never under the tree, but what was under the tree was like a special leotard with a matching skirt
Right.
that she could wear. Like that she had their uniform, but then on like every third Saturday or something, they could wear whatever. So it was like a special leotard and a skirt. And then my other daughter was a swimmer, and they had their uniforms and everything. So it was like a special bathing suit, kind of thing. So
Right.
it was related to what they did, but it was just a little tweak of it. But no, you're right. You make a commitment. You're buying the point shoes. You're buying the goggles. You're buying all the stuff that goes with it. The fins, snorkel and mask, all of that goes with it. So what I would do is just do do a little twist on it and do something fun.
Yes. Yeah, I do the same thing. Or if they want something where I'm like, okay, like, I buy the regular, but if you want this elevated version of something, that you really don't need, you just want it because it's cool, but it costs twice as much, then that might be something that I'm, like, if you want, I don't know, warming booties, and I can buy them for $25, but you really want the pair that costs 60, then that is something.
Right. You want the hot pink ones, the neon pink ones that are double the price of the black ones.
Yes.
Yep, I completely get that. So I'm going to throw out what I asked for Christmas because I always feel, I feel like, you know what, if I want, I'm just going to buy it, you know? So since my girls are now no longer living with me, one of the things I've asked of them, and it's actually something you can ask for, I think, from even kids who are still living with you. I ask every year for a photo album or a scrapbook of the past year. So they go through their phones and they find all the pictures, whatever, and they put together these scrapbooks for me. And they've been phenomenal. And so I get to see, their life through their eyes. And I've been doing it now for years. And every year I look forward to getting these books, and they sit on my coffee table until the new one comes. And then I put those in this cupboard where I've kept them all. And I just love it because to see, I mean, I know what they're doing, but to see pictures of it, and then they make new friends, and then they have their new friends in the pictures, and they go on all kinds of adventures. And so I think it's a great idea, and they said they love it. At first they were like, oh my gosh, Mom, it's so much work, but they love it because then they go through their phones and they're like, oh my gosh, I forgot I did that. I haven't talked to her in a long time. I should text her. So it helps. They like it now too. And they end up getting together usually on Christmas Eve and exchanging like stickers and stuff that they bought, because they each buy stuff and they kind of work on them until the very last minute on purpose. So they can exchange, because each of them has bought different embellishments, and they actually said, just do it on a service where you just can send the pictures, and they're like, no, they like the embellishments that you can put on. So it's been a family tradition, which is, I love. So, and like I said, they probably haven't even started them yet. So there's still time out there.
That's a great idea. Oh my God, you have really good wishes. I never know, when anybody asks me what do you wish for, I come up with nothing. I have like nothing on my list.
Well, that's an easy one for me, I mean, because like I said, with like my siblings, I look things up to see, oh, that would be really cool, or I think of something. But it is, and to give them stuff, I have friends that like through the year will be like, oh, look at this cute whatever. I'm so bad about that, because what happens is if I'm somewhere like on vacation, we went on vacation and I bought them all this stuff, and my husband said, why don't we just wait and give that to them for Christmas? And I was like, well, no, because they're screaming, I was in Greece, and then they get it for Christmas. They're going to be like, was this stuff that you bought in Greece in October? And I'm going to be like, yeah. So I just, so I can't do that because I just want to give it to them.
Yes, and I'm the same way. And I was thinking about this earlier when you were showing your knitting, right? Because I do pottery, and I very often make things for them. But I bring the things home when they come out of the kiln, and I cannot hold on to them because they're like, what did you make? What did you make? Let's see. And I'm like, here you go.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe you do make something special and then try to put it aside,
Right.
So I really think that sometimes I think we try too hard to get like that perfect gift, and I think it puts a lot of pressure on us,
Yes. But I think as long as you have fun yourself doing it, I think it's okay, But if it starts to really stress you, then you think you can just kind of.
Yeah, and I put every gift under the Christmas tree is from Santa Claus.
Oh, really? No. See, our family stockings are from Santa.
Okay, yeah. And so for a long time, like when they were little, I'd be like, I don't know if I should be doing this because I'm not getting any credit,
Exactly.
So most of the things are from Santa, and even like my husband, I'll buy him something outrageous that like is way over like our budget, because we set a budget for each other.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, what happened to the budget? I'm like, you're going to need to talk to the man, because look at what it says. It says Santa on there. So don't even look at me. And he's just like, there's no arguing with that. Right. And I'm like, I don't know this dude, you got to talk to the dude in the red suit, because I didn't do it. So that's what, so, there's no arguing with that one. Right.
Yeah.
You can't argue with Santa. So we still do like a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Still keep that up, some of the Santa stuff, the traditions of that. Even though, I
Yeah, it is
mean,
fun. It is fun to just keep it up, even if everybody is in the loop. I think it's still part of making things festive and fun and
and magic, you
yes.
know, and we don't put presents under the tree until the kids go to bed on
Right.
Christmas Eve. And it's not like we wrap things and throw them under there. I mean, we really don't. And so then Christmas is still, we go downstairs and the tree's lit up and there's the presents, and my girls still get a kick out of that.
Mhm.
And they're in their 20s. Oh, one's 30. But anyway, and we still do that kind of stuff. And I just think sometimes you get so wrapped up into and sometimes more isn't better.
That's right. But
You know,
one thing I always try to do is to actually have something that we can do after we open presents so that it's like, for example, like a game or something, either that is a family gift or that is for one of them.
yeah.
Because I'll show you like one of our favorite games is this one. Let me see. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got that for my daughter last year.
Oh, really?
Not that one, is
So
it?
fun.
Doesn't it have isn't there trekking through different places?
Yeah, well, there's one that's tracking the world. That
Yeah,
is also good, but I like this
that's the
one
one I
better.
got her last year.
But so we're always trying to get something like this that we can then actually do in the afternoon, to have an activity already there if we don't,
Right,
go out or if the weather is not good or whatever.
right. And, always, always, always is a book. Bless you. Is always a book.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you feel. I mean, when they were younger, I used to go to, well, the Scholastic book fairs.
Yeah.
They have a huge warehouse, and like in November or something, they would have an open house for I don't know who, but if you went and worked it, they paid you in books. And so I would go and work at the warehouse for I don't know how many hours and helping like sort books and helping pack books up. And then they would give you like one of those big boxes and you could fill a box for like $20. So every year they got, 100 pounds of books from me, from Santa. And so books have been a huge part of our Christmas tradition for years. And this year I bought them this book called The Book of Exquisites. That's the one that I tried to find.
Okay.
So Book of Exquisite that I found for $35, not 160. So I always like to give a gift of a book just because I think books are really important and they've been a big part of Christmas. I have a pile of Christmas books in the other room and that have always been available, starting with like picture books. And so we've had those forever. So it's just that's all part of it. So there was a tradition somewhere. Is it in Norway?
Yeah, I was just gonna.
You
It's some
have a book
where you get a book on Christmas Eve, right? And then you read it as long.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's such a great idea. And right around like 3 o'clock on Christmas, everybody's really quiet and you look and everybody's reading their book.
Yes.
And I just think that's great. So that's all part of it too. We have many gift guides. I think Jessica, our producer, has put them up on the links,
Yes.
to them. And these have been curated by your team. Wow.
Yeah.
We've curated these, we've given ideas, we've tested them out. And I think Franziska has helped put these guys together. I think they're great. They have a lot of great things, and most of them, there's still time to purchase them. I mean, it's early. It just feels like Christmas is just around the corner, but it's really not, and Hanukkah. But there's still some time to get some stuff out there, and we have links and everything for them.
Yes, and we are also coming out in the next couple of days with another gift guide for like box sets for teens, where you can kind of pretty much pick a theme that really appeals to your teenager. And then we have lists with ideas on how to kind of put together a really nice kit that, you might be able to buy already pre-made, but you can this way give it a personalized spin. And those are perfect for like last minute shopping too, because you are not bound by one thing. You can go with a, vague idea and then pick the things that come your way.
Right. I know that. So I think in the past I've done it and it's been like a movie theme and it's got, some popcorn and whatever. And then it might have some movie passes and, stuff like that. It's always really something like that is clever. And then I'm trying to think, I always buy a couple extra things, little things so that if sometimes like a neighbor will come by and I'll be like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're here," or I have a candle, whatever kind of thing. Just
I'll show you one more thing. And this is also in our gift guide, and I just love it so much. And it's these little, that I think would be a perfect thing. It's these little houses that you put on the top of your mug.
Oh my gosh.
So they are cookies. Now I don't know how to.
Oh, they're actually either edible?
Yes, they are edible. And so you have your mug and you set them on like this.
Oh my gosh, how cute is that?
Isn't that cute? It's in our stocking stuffer guide, but I love this so much because if you give somebody a mug with a cookie like this on it, is this like the most adorable thing?
It really is. That's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute. And that's going to be in our stocking stuffer gift guide?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so we really we went and really looked for you guys to find like what we thought were just great gifts. And I actually went through them and I think I got some of the ideas that I put out for my Secret Santa I got from our gift guides when I went through it and looked at some of the stuff out there.
Right. Perfect.
All
right. Well,
anything else?
I think that's it. I think now everybody needs to go out and finish their shopping or their creating or their assembling or whatever there is left to do.
So if anybody's a knitter out there and you want to make a felted bowl, it's just not that hard. I promise you. Oh, I hope my daughters don't see this.
Well, don't tell them about it. All right. Well, happy holidays, everyone. Thanks, Eka.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.